Hey everybody, Dr. G here. I'm a clinical and forensic psychologist as well as a body language expert, and today we're going to be analyzing the behavior and body language of President Trump and Elon Musk in the Oval Office. What we're going to be looking at is any signs of deception, what their dynamics are like, and whatever else the body language will show. Before we get started, a couple of quick things. One, I wanted to make sure you know this is not a psychological evaluation of any kind. These are just my opinions. In addition to that, I do want to remind you to like and subscribe if you want to see more content just like this. All right, let's go.
And we're going to be signing a very important deal today. It's DOGE, and I'm going to ask Elon to tell you a little bit about it and some of the things that we found, which are shocking. Billions and billions of dollars in waste, fraud, and abuse. And I think it's very important, and that's one of the reasons I got elected.
All right, let's look at some of the body language we just saw. Now, first, I want you to look at the position he's sitting in. So he's sitting with his hands one on top of the other. This is really a position of authority. There doesn't seem to be any attempt to hide anything right here. What we would be looking for then is changes in body language. So let's see a couple of things he does right here.
It's shocking. Billions and billions of dollars in waste, fraud, and abuse.
All right, so you saw when he said waste, fraud, and abuse, you saw him raise his fingers. President Trump tends to be somebody that opens up his body a lot when he talks. You've seen him probably talk with his hands, where he puts his hands together, pulls them apart. It's very common. That's typically what he does. So when he talks, when he's really feeling something, he's still going to move. So you saw him say waste, fraud, and abuse, raise his fingers. That means that he really does believe there is waste, fraud, and abuse going on. That's connecting with him emotionally.
And I think it's very important, and that's one of the reasons I got elected.
He said, I think it's very important. He raised both shoulders. He actually does seem to believe this is very important. When you raise one shoulder, that tends to be a little bit less committed. You raise both, that's a levitating behavior. That makes our bodies vulnerable when we lift both shoulders. And it's a very subtle behavior. I'm going to go over it one more time so you can see it. So once again, it does seem to be that what he's talking about are things that he actually does believe in.
And I think it's very important, and that's one of the reasons I got elected. I said we're going to do that. Nobody had any idea it was that bad, that sick, and that corrupt. And it seems hard to believe that judges want to try and stop.
So you saw when he said corrupt, he's nodding his head. These are the things you look for when he's more emotionally connected to something versus staying still. Because oftentimes when we're lying or we're being deceptive, we sit still, we try to hide. And that's not what he's doing right now. So as he says this, I think that he's very emotionally connected to what he's talking about.
I'll ask Elon Musk to say a few words, and we'll take some questions. Elon, go ahead.
Sure. So
So immediately you see Elon Musk going into what we call a steepling position. You can see how he has the tips of his fingers together and his thumbs touching. So what this is this is what we do when we are an expert at something. People do this when they're on the stand, if they're providing testimony as an expert. When they do this, studies have actually shown that they are more believable, that people will see them as more believable. So we do this as a way to show that we are an expert. And if somebody that is not an expert does that, we get annoyed. We don't like it. But given the position that he's in as he's doing this, people will listen to him and believe, or be more likely to believe what he's saying because of that, because that's his way of showing his expertise. Sounds weird, but that's really what the research shows.
this may seem like, well, aren't we in a democracy? Well, if you don't have a feedback loop, okay, we'd have to.
So as you can see, when Elon Musk is talking, he's opening his hands up, going between steepling to being open. So what that's trying to say is I'm both an expert and I want you to hear this from me. I'm being open. I'm being vulnerable. Opening up our chest makes us vulnerable if we think about things from a survival perspective. So when we do that, that's our way of emphasizing what we're trying to say. And it does tend to mean that we believe what we're saying. Whether or not you agree with what they're saying, this is not meant to be a political video. You can judge that for yourself. But as far as him saying that and him trying to be honest about it, it does seem like what he's saying is something he believes in.
In the form of the president and the Senate and the House, then we don't live in a democracy. We live in a...
Now, I want you to pay attention to the dynamic between them right here. Now, when Elon Musk is talking, President Trump is nodding his head in agreement with things. He's also facing towards him slightly, not fully, obviously, but slightly. What we would see if there was a more fractured dynamic, if they weren't getting along, for example, President Trump would probably either look ahead or look slightly the other direction. He likely would not see the body language agreeing with Elon Musk, because there have been reports that they aren't getting along or that the relationship's fractured and so on and so forth. This body language would suggest that that's probably not true.
Bureaucracy. So it's incredibly important that we close that feedback loop, we fix that feedback loop, and that the public's elected representatives found us today and said, what do you think of the way things have turned out? Well, we have this unelected
So what his body language is suggesting is that he is trying to present an argument for people, that he is trying to convince. The continued steepling, the fact he keeps going back to this, does suggest that he wants to be an expert on this, that he wants people to see him as an expert, and that he wants people to pay attention to what he's saying. So he believes he's delivering an important message that is not an argument per se, but that he is trying to convince people of what he's saying. He's also leaving his body open as he speaks, which suggests that he likely believes what he's saying, that I don't think that he's saying something that he doesn't actually believe in.
Fourth unconstitutional branch of government, which is the bureaucracy, which has in a lot of ways currently more power than any elected representative. And this is not something that people want. And it's not.
The body language continues to be the same as far as the dynamic between them. President Trump continues to face Elon Musk slightly. I do think that he is engaged in what he's saying. Like I said, I don't think there's a fractured relationship here.
Cursory examination of Social Security, and we've got people in there that are 150 years old. Now, do you know anyone who's 150? I don't. Okay. They should be on the Guinness Book of World Records. They're missing out.
So let's see whether or not when he says that he believes is true.
Now, do you know anyone who's 150?
So as he said, do you know anyone that's 150 years old? He went from the steepling as the expert to keeping his hands wide open and keeping himself open and vulnerable. Now, typically, when we're feeling anxious because you're lying, we tend to close up more. The fact that he's saying that and then opening his body up, he's raising his eyebrows so you look at his face. Whether or not you agree with what he's saying, Elon Musk believes this is true. He's not making this up. This doesn't seem to be something that he's fabricating. This really does seem to be, based on his body language, something that he's saying that is in fact true.
And we've got people in there that are 150 years old. Now, do you know anyone who's 150? I don't. Okay. They should be on the...
And as you can see, if you look at President Trump right now, the way that he's smiling, the way that the wrinkles are next to his eyes, suggests that that's a genuine smile. Oftentimes when people are faking smiles, you'll see them smile. I mean, we see politicians do this all the time. You'll see them smile. There's no wrinkling next to the eyes. It's just the mouth. It looks a little bit awkward. But as you can see, he seems to actually find what Elon Musk said funny, which also indicates that the relationship between them is probably continuing to be pretty good.
The Guinness Book of World Records. They're missing out. So, that's a case where, I think they're probably dead. It's my guess. Or they should be very famous.
And as you can see, if you watch President Trump right here, I'm going to scoot the camera over a little bit.
So, that's a case where, I think they're probably dead. It's my guess.
So you can see he's very engaged right now. You can really tell how engaged somebody is by just how much they're facing somebody else. And so right now, as he's talking about this is a point that I believe President Trump thinks is very important and very compelling for people to hear, which is there's somebody that's supposed to be 150 years old, or so on and so forth, these kinds of things. So as they find these types of irregularities, as they're talking about this seems like something that President Trump really is engaged with, something that he wants people to hear about.
Now, one thing also that Elon hasn't really mentioned are the groups of people that are getting some of these payments. They're ridiculous. And we're talking about billions of dollars that we've already found. We found fraud and abuse. I would say those.
So as I mentioned earlier, raising the shoulders, tapping the hands, the things that he's doing show that he is trying to emphasize what he is saying, that he does seem to be open about what he's saying. Watch this right here.
Also that Elon hasn't really mentioned are the groups of people that are getting some of these payments. They're ridiculous. And we're talking about.
As you can see, he raises his eyebrows. They're ridiculous. Not only does he believe that, he believes other people would believe that.
About billions of dollars that we've already found. We
saw the shoulders raised, money they've already found. I do believe that that's actually true based on what he's doing right now.
We found fraud and abuse. I would say those two words as opposed to the third word that I usually use, but in this case, fraud and abuse. It's abusive because most of these things.
He's continuing to lift his shoulders as he says this. It does seem to be that he's very emotionally connected to what he's talking about right now.
Virtually made up, or certainly money shouldn't be sent to him. And you know what I'm talking about. It's crazy. So, but we're talking about tens of billions of dollars that we've already found. And
you see what he said, that we've already found, you see he leaned in. That's a way to emotionally connect with who you're talking to. So as he's doing this, not only does he feel like it's a good point, he wants people to hear that. We've found tens of billions of dollars. Watch him lean in right here.
About tens of billions of dollars that we've already found.
So raising his eyebrows because that's a shocking fact. He wants you to see that. He's leaning in to make sure you understand we've already found this. This is a way, like when people are in court, for example, and I've talked about this in plenty of other videos, when people are feeling vulnerable or when there's something that they're trying to be deceptive about, they will literally back up. When a judge is talking, they will back up in their seats just a little bit. It's subtle, but it's there. As you can see right now, it's the opposite. He's leaning in because he's trying to connect more.
But we're talking about tens of billions of dollars that we've already found. And now a judge who's an activist judge wants to try and stop us from doing this. Why? Why would they want to do that? I campaigned on this. I campaigned on the fact that I said government is corrupt.
So we'll go ahead and stop here. Based on everything that we've seen, both Elon Musk and President Trump do seem to believe everything that they're saying. So whether or not you agree with any of this video is not meant to be political. It's about politicians, but it's not meant to be political. You can decide for yourself how you feel about these things. But it does seem to be that their relationship is solid. So any reports that they're not getting along or that one of them is angry at the other one seems very likely untrue based on everything that we saw here. They seem to be pretty connected. They seem to be paying attention to each other. The idea that they are not getting along seems exceedingly unlikely to me. If there's anything else you want me to check out, please let me know in the comments below. In addition to that, if there's anything you think that I missed or there are things you want me to re-examine, I'm also happy to do that. Last thing before we get finished up is I do want to remind you to like and subscribe if you want to see more content just like this. All right, thanks for watching.